Welcome to Get Over It, the consciousness transforming podcast for exceptional 21st century living. We have got a treat today. We're going to be speaking with Ellen Meredith, and she's going to be talking about her book, The Language Your Body Speaks, Self-Healing with Energy Medicine. Now, Ellen has done a lot of study, and she actually teaches for Donna Eden. And you guys know she is a pioneer in this energy medicine. And Miss Meredith, Ellen brings a lot more to the table. So sit back, relax, and take some notes, and then get the book. Because if you are struggling during COVID-19 period and being locked in or mask or no mask or whatever, she's got some techniques in this book that are definitely going to help you. Now, the energy shared on Get Over It uses intuitive and pragmatic insight to help you shift your consciousness to break through blocks and release energy that is no longer needed. Yes, we're going to help you let go of the BS that is holding you back, but you guys know I always ask that question, are you truly ready to? And by the way, folks, BS is belief system. Now, a bit about me for my new listeners. Intuitive since birth. I'm a third-generation intuitive with over 3 decades of experience supporting people to break through the blocks along their path. I'm a strategist for personal and professional transformation, revealing cutting-edge information that enables you to prosper and thrive. I spent 25 successful years in corporate America as an executive sales professional, and I'm the founder of Healing Visions Ministries and the Northern California Children's Education Network, a 501c3 nonprofit. I also authored 2 books. I provide consultations and healings in all areas of life that heal the mind-body-spirit connection, allowing you to live your absolute best life. My clients tell me that I keep it real while providing them with accurate information to assist them along their journey as a spirit living a human existence. But they also say, if you really don't want to know, don't ask Monique. My background includes a doctorate in metaphysics, Reiki master teacher, ordained minister, and clinical hypnotherapist. So whether you are stressed, depressed, or possessed, I could help. To find out more about me and the services I offer, go to my website, and that's MoniqueChapman.com, and I invite you to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn. My guest today, Ellen Meredith, is the author of The Language Your Body Speaks. An intuitive and energy medicine practitioner with over 35 years of experience, she has served on the faculty of energy medicine pioneer Donna Eden since 2010 and teaches energy healing techniques all over the world. Now, Ellen is in Marin County in California, and you can check her out online at her website, and that is ellenmeredith.com. Let me spell that for you, ELLENMEREDITH.com. Welcome, Ellen.
Thank you, Monique. I'm so happy to be here talking with you today.
Oh, it is so great to have you here. You know, I absolutely love the book, The Language Your Body Speaks. I've been a fan and follower of Donna Eden for years, and you have captured what she has put out into the world, but put your own little twist on it, and you've given sound information that we need right now today so that we can, move forward with energy healing. Tell us about your journey to energy healing and intuitive healing.
Okay, well, I was originally trained by my inner teachers. I am also an intuitive, and in my, I would say, late teens, early 20s, I woke up to awareness that there were some other dimensions to this reality besides the everyday, and it happened kind of accidentally. My grandmother, who is dead, showed up behind me with a message. And I'm a writer, so I write everything down. I wrote it down. I thought, oh, that's cool. I imagined Grandma. And then the next day, somebody came to my door who I barely knew and said, I'm going to a psychic fair. Do you want to go? And I'd never been, so I said, sure. And we drove to this other town. We sat down. It was a spiritualist church, $5 reading. The woman looked at me. She said, your maternal grandmother is standing right behind you, and she has a message for you. And then she repeated the exact message I'd received.
Oh, wow.
And I was hooked. It was like, oh, my God, how did you do that? What is that? And, I said, are you reading my mind, or do you think my grandma's really there? And to give her credit, she said, it's my belief system that your grandmother's really there and that you get lots of messages, and that if you would just slow down and listen to them, you could get some really good guidance. So that's what I did. I did my best to slow down, and within a day, I noticed I was seeing this little ticker tape in my head with letters on it, like one of those stock market ticker tapes in the old days. And so I went to my typewriter, because it was still typewriter days, and I started writing the letters, and it was a message from my inner teachers, my councils, and they said, we're going to train you, we'll work with you, and just take the information and write it down, and then you can assess it afterwards. And so I started doing that, and my whole life became a workshop. Every aspect of my life was an unpacking of the concepts and ideas and guidance they gave me. I don't believe that channeling is a download. People talk about, I downloaded this information. In my experience, it was really a teaching relationship. It was an interaction, dialogue, and it was lived experience. I couldn't just get ideas and think about them. I had to really experience the concepts in 3D. So at some point they said, you're going to move to California, get very ill, and in the process of healing, you'll learn how to become a healer. And that's what happened. I did move to California. I did get very ill. I went to the doctor. She said, there's nothing I can do for you. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to send you to really, it's like you don't have anything medical. I see that you feel like crap, but you have nothing medical. So she sent me, right, bless her. She sent me to a complementary healer, a complementary medicine practitioner who was a chiropractor who did applied kinesiology. And in that context, I started to discover that I could see what was going on in my body, or read my own energies, read her energies, read the supplements on the wall and figure out what I needed. Anyway, that's how I got started. It was totally accidental. When I healed from that chiropractor asked me if I could do that stuff with other people, and I said, I don't know. So she had me come in and try it. You know how these things unfold. If I tried to make this career happen, I couldn't. It wasn't what I was expecting at all. Right. But it unfolded, and lots of synchronicity, lots of weirdo events. And what happened was she had me come in and look at someone with whom she was stuck, and I could see that there was a problem in that woman's body. She actually had a hairline fracture in her neck, and I could see it, and I said, would this make a difference? And they said, yeah. And it just unfolded from there. Then clients started coming, and I had to choose between the intuitive healing work and my day job. I was a college professor at that point, and so I thought, well, this is way more fun. This is way more interesting. So I shifted to doing this work, and I've been doing it, as you said, for 36, 37 years or so professionally.
Okay, well, you know what? You truly walk your talk, and it's coming across loud and clear in your voice. I mean, you're full of such love, such joy, such happiness, and you laugh, because, folks, even if you get some bad news, find the positive in it and laugh about it, because that lifts your vibration, as Ellen has lifted our vibration as we're talking here. Now, Ellen, you start out your book by, the chapter says, thinking outside the healing box, or the box of healing. Why? Why do we need to just not take whatever the allopathic doctor says and run with that? Why do we need to expand our horizons, if you will, with our own body, mind, and spirit?
Oh, that's a great question. And there's a couple different answers to it. One is that medicine is very allopathic, or Western medicine is very good with really acute situations. Like if my appendix is about to burst, I would just as soon have it out, personally. Yeah. If I can't calm it down myself. But the medical model really is focused on what's wrong and how do we fix it. That's really the basis of our whole society and health. It's not even health. It's what's wrong. Can I get a diagnosis? And then how do I fix it? Can I take a medication? Can I get a surgery? What will fix it? And the problem, there's a couple problems with that. One problem is that often what's wrong for us is something right is missing. In other words, it's not that something's gone wrong, it's that what we need isn't here. And the body is faltering. We don't have enough nourishment of some sort or another. And so asking what's wrong doesn't get you to where you need to go. The other thing is that energy always follows kind of intention. So if you're always asking what's wrong, it's like a little kid who's discovered, she can get attention if she acts up. It's like, oh, mom's going to pay attention to me if I cry or if I break something, so let's try it again. So it just kind of encourages the body to keep coming up with things that are wrong, rather than engaging as an instrument to play the music of the soul. And I just really think we can shift the model. I like the language model, and in the book I say that, we talk about energy as the language your body speaks, which is actually a quote from Donna Eden. And so the language model is what's being expressed here, how is it being expressed, and what's needed for better communication. And think about if you just shift the question you're asking, you get really different answers, right? So what's wrong? You get a bunch of yuckies, and what's needed and what's being expressed and how can we communicate better moves you much more quickly into wellness and well-being. And it goes way beyond illness to really thriving and celebrating and, having fun in life.
Which is so important. Now, you said in your book, you touched on it a moment ago, but you say in your book, I'd like to delve a little bit deeper, using the use of non-scientific language to describe your situation. Why is that so important? Why not say, oh, I have blah, 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 whatever allopathic medicine says you need to have?
Well, it's always tempting. You always want to get a diagnosis because it validates it in the eyes of other people. You say, well, I've got such and such. But usually it's the Latin word for whatever, or a foreign word for whatever it is you're really experiencing. And now we even use English. I've got chronic fatigue. Well, that's not a thing. That's a descriptor. And almost all medical diagnoses are really descriptors. It's like, arthritis is really about inflammation in the joints or buildup on the bones. It's not really a thing in itself. So one reason I don't go with science and, here's what some famous person did with research to prove this, is that I believe that in self-healing in particular, and we heal within ourselves first, we have to be able to engage with our own bodies. And if we have to speak a foreign language to do it, we don't get very far. Most of us have not studied medicine and all the things you need to know to think in those terms. But we are, you wouldn't say to someone, let's analyze Shakespeare scientifically and see if we can come up with medical explanations for why that poem works. Right. We just wouldn't do it because we don't ask that of literature. We don't ask that of art. And this is the art of living. Having a body, it is the instrument of our being, and we don't need to always reference everything back to science. For one thing, because they never do enough studies that really include what you're going through. And second, we construct a self from the inside out, and we don't need to dissect ourselves all the time. We can actually focus on how do I construct myself more effectively.
Okay. Now, in your book, you talk about our bodies being a part of an energetic spectrum, the body, the mind, the spirit. So how does all of that interplay with each other to help us with self-healing?
Okay, well, I love this notion that we're not three separate things. We're not body and then mind and then spirit. I really do see it as different levels of density. And you can see that when you look in the mirror. You can see your body standing there, right? There's your body. It looks very physical. And then you look at yourself and you say a few words, and there's your little, what I call your talking self, your mind, the part that makes the dramas and the identities, shining out your eyes and making, cute little faces at you. And then if you sit there a moment longer, you get this sense of the spirit, this deeper self that's there, the part of you that that kind of resonates more deeply and your soul, the thing that makes you most alive. And those are just 3 dimensions of our being that you don't need to be specially psychic to see or to recognize. So in terms of healing, if we want to be well, we really have to get those 3 things on the same page. If my mind says go to a party and my body says take a nap and my soul says read something stimulating that will deepen your understanding, we have to get those 3 parts of our being working together. Otherwise, there's stress, and stress leads to illness. So a lot of healing is about having access to what our soul is guiding us to do, that kind of inner guidance system, and training our mind to recognize not only the urgings of the soul, but the needs of the body, and then supporting our body with clear guidance. You know, we throw 100 stories at our body every day, right? And the body is programmed to kind of enact storylines.